Guys, what is up? Welcome to another episode of Maximilian Must Know. Today we're going to take a look at a fragrance from the house of Giorgio Armani. This is from their Privé line, and this one is called Ambre Eccentrico. Now, this is actually my first review of this fragrance house, believe it or not. I only own two fragrances from Giorgio Armani, which really surprised me when I sort of went back and did the math. I own this one, and I own one called Armani Code. I think if I could get a bottle of vintage Acqua di Gio for the right price, I might jump on that. And I definitely would like a Code Profumo, which to me is the best fragrance Armani has ever produced. That's sort of the way I feel right now. I could be crazy about that, and if I could ever get Attitude, which is discontinued, I believe, for a low price, I'd jump on that as well. Now, before we review this one, let me give you a little bit of backstory quickly on this house. This is an Italian designer house. Giorgio Armani is a designer who started his career in Italy as someone who designed the windows. Did the sort of layouts and windows in men's department stores, and then rose up to become a buyer and designer for Nino Cerruti, where he worked up through 1972. He left then and started his own line, debuted his first collection in 1975. He did a men's collection and a women's collection, and things really took off in the US when Richard Gere wore Armani clothing in a film called American Gigolo. The brand went through their real, I would say, I don't want to say peak, but because it's not like they've gone down, but really sort of started to become something to behold in the 80s and 90s when they started to spin off lines. They had Emporio Armani, Armani Jeans, Armani AX Exchange. AX Exchange, by the way, is not part of Armani. They actually sold that name off. But Giorgio Armani is a brand that I've always loved. I remember I was a big Knicks fan. I found out Pat Riley wore Giorgio Armani, and I have many real Giorgio Armani sports coats and dress shirts. Now, as far as fragrance history goes, Armani entered into a partnership with L'Oreal in the early 1980s, and in 1982 introduced Armani for women and Armani for men in 1984. As of today, they still partner with L'Oreal, and they have now over 140 fragrances in their catalog. They obviously blew up in the men's world with Acqua di Gio, which was released in 1996. In 2004, they released their exclusive Armani Privé brand. There are a lot of fragrances in that collection now, almost 30. This one, Eccentrico, was released in 2015. The perfumer, Khalees Becker, she's done so many fragrances, many by Kilian, as well as other houses. And the notes on Eccentrico are amber, cinnamon, tonka, patchouli, dried plum, and dried fruits. It comes in one size only, 100 milliliters. I got mine as a tester on eBay for $115. It's very hard to find it now for that price. The retail on this one is $270 for 100 ml, and it's eau de parfum concentration. You could find these at some department stores, and certainly, any Giorgio Armani flagship, you could find these on as well. Now, I didn't get the box with this as a tester, but I did get the cap, which I'm stoked about, and it's a really simple presentation. You just have Armani Privé, Eccentrico. You have a sticker on the bottom. You have this sort of faux turtle shell cap, a black atomizer that squirts juice really well. It's really heavy. It's nice. There's nothing super special about it, but it certainly makes a nice statement in a collection, or if you just have it in a shelf or in your bathroom, it looks really nice. And as far as the scent goes, this scent is deceiving. Sometimes it comes off really simplistic, and sometimes it's really complicated. But the thing for me, at least, that there's no debate about is just how good this fragrance is, guys. This is great. And what I get out of this one at the top is a mix of like a milky cinnamon. I mean like a cinnamon chai and tonka bean. And with that cinnamon chai and tonka, almost like a milky tea, a sweet spice, is these dried stone fruits like plum, peach, apricot. It's a bit like pie spice and fruit, and that with those milky milky spice notes, those fruits, sits atop a very basic and simple amber accord, probably solely composed of vanillin, benzoin, and labdanum. And I don't smell anything but those notes that I've mentioned. I don't get the patchouli at all, but the way those notes sort of weave in and out of each other and interplay is exceptional. This is just one of those perfect, cozy, warm blanket fragrances that's almost like an elixir at the right time of the year. Performance on this one is good. It's not great, but good enough for me. This is a scent that you want someone to have to get close to you to smell. It's gonna last longer than it projects. It's not a skin scent, but you should get a good 10 hours out of EDP performance. It'll probably project off your skin directly for about 6 of those 10 hours. Absolutely made for fall and winter, and would fare extremely well during holiday celebrations or important occasions during those months. Totally unisex. One of the few times I can say a fragrance doesn't lean either way at all. For me, guys, ideally this is a dressed up date night fragrance close to the holidays, really nice restaurant, trying to stunt a little bit, but can also be dressed down casually the next day. It's a scent that I love. It's almost impossible for me to make comparisons on this one. It's really in its own little genre here. I would say it's a cross between 3 fragrances. Sort of, I'd say, Plum Japanois by Tom Ford, 1 Million by Paco Rabanne, and Le Dandy by D'Orsay. Elements of all 3 of those fragrances exist in this scent, but this one's completely unique in my eyes, which I do think it's a fragrance worth having, even at the price point. You kind of get that ambery fruitiness from Plum Japanois. You get the sort of cinnamon spice vibe from 1 Million, and some more of that stone fruit booziness almost from Le Dandy. If someone were trying to talk you into purchasing this fragrance, I think they'd tell you that it's really unique. It is of a high quality. It's a good performer, and it could be a date night killer for you at the right time of year in the right situation. If someone were trying to talk you into passing on this one, they might say that for some it might be too sweet. It might be too gourmand. This is not a real amber fragrance. If you see the name Ambre Eccentrico and you go, oh, I'm going to get an amber scent, you might be disappointed. It's not that. There are amber fragrances that blow this away in terms of being real amber fragrances, so don't blind buy this on the strength of getting an amber fragrance. At the end of the day, this was one of my best blind buys of all time. I didn't have to pay out the mouth for it, but it was still over $100 for me, and I'm so pleased that I got this one for that price. This is an 8.5. Which you guys know is a good score for me. It's quality scent, it's unique, it serves a great purpose, and most importantly, to me at least, is this one I think even at $270 is very much worth the price tag. If you like gourmands and you want to sort of stick out from the fragrances that we all wear who love fragrances, right? The 1 Millions, the Dior Homes, the Tonka Imperials, the Harrods, the Amber Nargis, Tobacco Venise, fragrances like that, I would really give this one a look. It's sort of a hidden gem that doesn't get a huge ton of love in the fragrance community, and I think is really, really worth its weight in gold. I love it. I really do, and it's a compliment magnet as well. I really didn't talk about that, but I've gotten a lot of compliments wearing this one to work in colder weather. So really fits a lot of occasions, smells really good, quality, unique, good fragrance, guys. This one's a winner. So I'd love to know what you think about this. By the way, I'll also say this really quickly. I smelled a lot. I smelled almost everything from this Privé line. Maybe not the super newer stuff, some of like the stuff that comes in like the jade bottles and stuff like that. But I went for this over like Oud Royal and some of the other stuff that people really like. Like this was the one that I went for. I went through the whole lineup at the Giorgio Armani flagship on Madison Avenue. And this wasn't there at the time, but nothing there really did it for me. So when I sort of heard about this one, I just went for it. And I think for me so far, this is the best out of the bunch. So I would so much like to know what you guys think of this one. Definitely want to hear your opinions. What's your favorite from this line? I definitely do, Figure Eden, which is their fig fragrance, is really, really good too. But because I have Fecal Amalfi, I didn't want to get that one. They definitely do have some lighter summer style, good lighter summer style fragrances like Orange Alhambra. So those do exist. But for me, of the darker ones, this is king shit, and I'm super happy to have it. So guys, that is my review of Ambre Eccentrico. I will see you later this week with some more videos. Guys, I want to thank you so much for watching. Obviously, my name is Maximilian.
We're dreaming of, we are one, having fun, walking in the glow of love.